We're talking about the protests in Turkey. What does this mean for Prime Minister Erdogan and his ruling AK party? With us from Ankara is Tulin Dalolu, columnist for Al Monitor, and from Istanbul, Hakan Camuz, chairman of an Islamic-oriented business association. Hakan, let me start with you for this segment. You know, after his party's success in the recent municipal elections, the Prime Minister, Recep Tayyip Erdogan, warned that he will go after his enemies. And this was seen as a reference to Fethullah Gulen, who is an Islamic cleric who lives here in the United States, as we've been reporting, and who runs a group that organizes a lot of educational programs and charities in Turkey. Why was there a fallout between Erdogan and this particular group? Because at one time they were allies, very close allies.
I can briefly explain to you, if you allow me. Once Turkey was a staunchly secular country, and when AK Party came into power, obviously they would like to open up means to the supporters that they have, so they can actually have positions in the government. And Gulen movement have provided the government with people they can actually work with. But then again, they've turned this into some kind of bureaucratic tutelage, and then they try to use it against him to, as he described it, as a coup d'etat attempt in 17th of December 2013. So what he is talking about, i.e. fighting them back, is he will clear these people from these positions. They use it to do an illegal coup d'etat attempt against democratically elected government. And he's talking about somehow getting rid of these people from their positions so they don't do this again, using the positions they've gained because of governments.
Tulin, do you agree that, Erdogan is fighting what he sees as a coup d'etat? Does the Gulen, does that group have too much power over what is happening in Turkey right now? And do they feel at some point that they were losing that power?
Right. Well, let me make, 2 points for the, larger audience to understand what we're really talking about, especially when I refer to the AKP as an Islamic-rooted party. Well, first of all, since the foundation of this republic, we have not really found peace in balancing the role of what a secular democracy is and where Islam is. How do we intertwine the religion, that's Islam, the majority of the people in this country are Muslims, how do we intertwine that religion with a secular democratic notion that this country has borrowed on its foundation from the Western world? We haven't yet, sorted this out. It's still a troubling issue for this society. So when I'm talking about these concepts like the, secular republic or a secular democracy, my, counterpart in Istanbul objects that, well, AKP is not so, but what AKP is doing since it came to power is to actually object to all these differences or these nuances or the peace that we haven't found in this republic since the foundation. So therefore, we are still divided. We haven't yet, sorted out this issue, and we are not really at peace whether Islam is really, compatible with a secular democratic nature, because we don't know how these words mean. I'm not sure whether we have a unanimous understanding of definition, all across the board on this issue. Number two, when we talk about the Fethullah Gulen or the US based Sunni cleric Fethullah Gulen and his followers, well, this, group is not new. They have been out there for, at least 2-3 decades. And we know that, their leader, Fethullah Gulen, had advised his followers to especially group in the state institutions like the judiciary, the law enforcement, and all sorts of, state institutions. And, and they are, really investing heavily in education. So this is a serious group. But the, way how they freed their hands or really expanded their presence in the state institutions have become, in the last decade since the Erdogan government came into place. So from the day when Erdogan took power in this country, he had a relationship of convenience with the Fethullah Gulen and his followers. But, that, relationship of convenience or the alliance had split on, specifically on December 17 when the graph probe hit the surface. Since then, the Prime Minister is talking about launching an independence war against those who establish a parallel state in this country. And basically, he's referring to the Fethullah Gülen and his followers. And there have been times where the Prime Minister has also characterized this, group, this religious group, as a terror organization.
All right.
So this is really a very tough battle.
Right. Let me ask Hakan about these divisions. Hakan, when you look at these divisions in Turkey, how do they affect the country's standing in the world, especially in its relationship, for instance, with the European Union? I mean, we do know that Turkey has ambitions to become part of the European Union, but if the European Union looks at the divisions that Tulin's talking about, does it jeopardize those ambitions?
No, I think Tulin, I don't want to say it in a kind of rude way, but I think she's kind of over-exaggerating what it is. It's not like that. Turkey is in negotiations with the EU. At the moment, they're still talking on some different level.
Yeah, but one of the European Union minister in Turkey has said that 2014 is going to be the year of Europe. That's when we're going to see some kind of progress.
Indeed. So, look, politically, Turkey is developing, and I'll tell you, things are getting better. There's massive projects taking place in Turkey, and most of these companies actually work with the Turkish government are European companies. Britain is heavily investing into Turkey. Germany has a massive trade with Turkey. Most of the European countries, and Turkey's trade is 65% with the European Union. So, and in the region, Turkey trades with Russia, Iran, everywhere. I mean, so business is doing well. Turkey's economy is doing well. These little political struggle that's going on internally here does not reflect what goes on with Turkey's relation with the EU or where Turkey wants to go, i.e. becoming a full member of the European Union, or its relationship with any other developing countries. With Japan, we have a massive trade going on with them. So this internal politics does not necessarily have negative effect on Turkey's outlook with their relationship with the world.
Okay. Tulin, let me ask you about the future of Erdogan. He cannot stand again for Prime Minister because of term limits in Turkey, but he has been eyeing the presidency, and he can now, presidents in Turkey will be directly elected, so he has been looking at standing as a candidate there. Is that where he's headed, and will he gather more power around himself if he becomes president?
The Prime Minister had a meeting today with all the deputies of his party, and they discussed this issue all in detail, including that three-time rule in the serving or being elected to the parliament. And so we will see how the party is going to conclude that discussion. But having said that, the result of the local elections have certainly encouraged the Prime Minister's will or the ambition to run for the seat of the president in the first public vote for this office, which is scheduled, the first, where the election is scheduled for August 10 of this year. And so it is highly likely that the Prime Minister is going to run for the seat, and then the party is going to reorganize itself and try to figure out how the transition is going to happen, because the day the Prime Minister gets elected, or if he gets elected to office of the presidency, that government is going to due to our laws is going to fall on the day Erdogan gets elected. So there needs to be a new government that has to be formed.
But I just want to get, very quickly, we're running out of time, I want to get the view on this from Hakan. Hakan, do you think that Erdogan's going to be a fixture on Turkish politics, in Turkish politics for the foreseeable future, at least until 2023 if he becomes president?
Quickly, let me remind you what Tulin said at the beginning of this discussion, where she was talking about why AK Party was popular. She said there was no alternative, i.e. there's no strong opposition. Although that is true, it's missing a major part here. AK Party and this Prime Minister is loved by the people in Turkey. He comes up with a vision, he comes up with objectives and targets people to conclude, and he actually realizes them. People love him because he works. People love him and they vote for him because him and his party actually get on with a lot of projects in Turkey, and they develop Turkey to become the 17th largest economy in Turkey. Therefore, he's quite trusted and he's quite liked by people in Turkey. Whether he will be a president, that's something soon to be seen.
Okay.
We're all waiting for the decision.
All right, we're going to have to leave it there. Tulin, Dalolu, Hakan, Jamuz, thanks for joining us.